We are going to continue our discussion now with Dr. Paul Pounder, lecturer at the Department of Management Studies, and also Roseanne Mosley, who is the managing director of La Rosa Couture Inc., a budding company which is going to go places. And we're talking with the manufacturing. So, Dr. Pounder, we can resume the discussion by, we've talked about things that are out there in the air and all that sort of thing, but you are doing some studies right now, so tell us about those, because these are things that I guess could be a little bit more real to us.
Okay, the studies that we're taking part in now, we're trying to find out what's the current status of manufacturing. So we're going out into manufacturing companies and we're doing a set of diagnostics. There are about 160 indicators covering things like Porter's 5 forces, the buying power, the threats to new entrants, supplier power, and so on, talking about research and development, innovation, and then at the end, the part that most people are, scared to share with us, the financial statements, revenue less expenses, how much profit they're making, and their balance sheet, and so on. So we're hoping that at the end of these diagnostics, we'll be able to identify what are some of the existing best practices out there in our manufacturing sector. And then from these best practices, we're also looking to identify some of the gaps that exist in the manufacturing sector. And hopefully once we identify the gaps, the second phase of the research will focus on how can we fill these gaps, what types of technical assistance can we offer to these small manufacturers. So it may be that they need some assistance with marketing research, they might need some assistance with the documentation for the internationalization and so on. So after we've completed filling those gaps, we're hoping also that we'll be able to align ourselves with some financiers, since cash flow is always a challenge, and working capital and so on. So with the assistance from the financiers, we should be able to facilitate them with upgrading their equipment, maybe changing their factory layout, maybe assisting them with reaching new export markets through trade shows or expositions and stuff like that.
You mentioned the reluctance to give up information on finances, and we can understand that, but generally are the manufacturers appreciating what you're doing, and are they cooperating in a good way?
Yes, they are cooperating. The diagnostic takes about 3 to 4 hours, and then it's also a walkthrough with the plant, so they're very cooperative in terms of sharing a lot of the information. I think one of the challenges with sharing the financial information is that a lot of them don't have the up-to-date information. Okay, so maybe in the last year or two, they haven't had an accountant coming and done a real financial audit, so they're just working with substitute figures, okay, in terms of the sector. But it's coming around, and we're really pointing out the importance of having current information so that you can make informed decisions and not use historic information and work with guesswork.
Based on what you found so far, what do we have going for us, and what do we still have to get together, or is it too early to tell?
It's early to tell, but we do have some very indigenous products, okay, that we can see can reach international and regional markets. Products that use local raw materials as well. I would also suggest that we use things where we can create value added based on our high education level, so not the lower skill type products, but a higher end finished product, kind of like the one that my colleague here.
Look at her brochure. Let me show you this, just to show you where she's setting her sights. You know, this says a lot. Just looking at it, this is the brochure, and when you open it, lovely. You see, if I go over to a few pages here, look at the layout. Smiling faces of staff somewhere inside as well. Very, very nice indeed. So that's what it's about, setting yourself apart, right?
Yeah, building some high standards, building capacity, and making sure that you stand out on quality and give yourself a competitive advantage over your competitors.
Dr. Pounder, we've already established that La Rosa Couture Inc. came into being with almost a hero sandwich of factors. They all came together at the right time, the right support mechanism, etc. And you spoke about designing a way forward. Is this market research and the advice you're giving coming out of the research cognitive of the fact that we're in the throes of what some are calling a double-dip recession, or is this an across-the-board carte blanche approach that can be applied regardless of the economic situation in which we're operating?
But the technical assistance we're offering in terms of the market research is we do it as a group initially. So initially you have about 20 or 30 manufacturers come around, and we talk a lot about what is expected in terms of gathering information for market research, the types of market research that are available out there, try to find out which countries people believe that they can set up shop in as well. And then once we work that out as a group, then we need to go into each individual company and do something specific for them, because it's not going to be a one-size-fit-all report. Okay, so for the marketing side, you would also need to go and spend some time in the company, sit down with the entrepreneur, sit down with the CEO, and work out exactly where it is that they think that they want to take their company, because each company doesn't have access to the same amount of financial resources. They might not have the same capacity in terms of equipment, in terms of human resources, and so on. So we need to design a package specifically to fit the entrepreneur or the manufacturer.
Ms. Mosley, if you were to ask Dr. Pounder here for some sort of assistance, what would be high on your agenda for your company in terms of what would be some sort of assistance you need now?
Well, right now, finances, basically, because I want to see the factory go to a certain level. Not that we are not getting financial help, but there's a lot more stuff that we can do if we had the finances readily available. I mean, that is basically cry of most persons you speak with. Designers, persons in manufacturing is always the slow cash flow, basically. But I know there are institutions out there that are willing to help, and we are very thankful for them, but right now it is finances.
Okay.
And your designers, I know you yourself have had some opportunity to do some training. Are you finding that there are people out there who are readily available to that you can hire, call upon?
Yes, there are some very good students coming out of BCC, I must say, and the Polytechnic. And sometimes, well, I basically depend a lot on my staff for a lot of help, because I have some good resource persons, especially my supervisor. She's very helpful, she's very resourceful. So if there's an area where I am lacking, most of the time I can call upon her, Shani Waterman, and she fits in there and she helps me in some areas where I'm not too familiar with, but she is very, very helpful, I must say.
Team is important.
Clearly.
Dr. Pounder, is the university doing enough to sort of, I don't know, inform manufacturers about the whole CSME and what is their requirement, what is their responsibilities, that sort of thing? Are manufacturers understanding?
Yeah.
Well, at the university, we put on a series of workshops, a series of seminars. Coming on stream, I believe by January 2012, the Cave Hill School of Business is also going to offer a series of programs in entrepreneurial studies. So there will be a diploma in entrepreneurship being offered through the School of Business. There will also be an executive MBA with a concentration in entrepreneurship, and they're also offering a series of trainers in the area of entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial awareness, entrepreneurial development for persons offering services to entrepreneurs, because there are only so many staff at the university, so we need to train people so that they too can go out and reach the the masses, persons interested in entrepreneurship at all the different levels. So some of them are out in primary schools, some of them are in secondary schools, and then also in the communities as well.
That is great news, because that's something that we've been saying, you go to school and you get a certificate, but usually in some of the other areas like entrepreneurship, you don't usually get that. Yeah. And it's just nice to have that. You can frame it and put it up on your wall. Thank you very much for dropping by. Dr. Paul Pounder, lecturer at the Department of Management Studies, and Roseanne Mosley of La Rosa Couture Inc. Thank you very much for coming by, and we wish you all the best. We hope everything continues to fall in place for you. We were discussing Wither Manufacturing right here on Morning Barbados. We continue shortly.